Hello, hello. Happy Friday. Happy late afternoon Friday, Johnny Mo.
It is a good Friday indeed.
Good call. It is a good Friday. Happy Good Friday to everybody.
Yes, sir. How are you?
Good. I was actually down in your neck of the woods this morning. Went down to meet with some people down there, and it's always good to get down to the market centers and see everybody that's out there and hear how business is, and realize that we're all in the same boat. Just kind of pushing forward and doing the best we can in this strange shifted market. But it's good down there.
I'll tell you what, man. I talk and I have talked with agents around the country since 2014 or so, 2015.
Mhm.
And Groundhog Day is real. It doesn't matter where you go. It's the same. It's the same. It's just the same. Agents have the same struggles, the same needs, the same concerns. The
Yep.
market's definitely sometimes it's a little bit different here or a little bit different there. I talked to agents down in the Nova DC market, right? Down there, it never seems to sleep because of the government and the
Yeah.
military bases and things like that. People are always coming and going, right? But everywhere you go, they have the same concern, they have the same problems, they have the same needs and the same requirements. So, but it is good to go talk to other people, get out of your own
Yep.
backyard, and say, "Oh shit, you got the same problems we got."
Yeah. I mean, low inventory is a universal problem right now, and
All right.
I was talking to some folks about, they're struggling to get buyers with, FHA loans and VA loans approved, and I pointed them towards a vendor of ours who offers these cool cash type programs where they can convert conventional loans to cash offers to help people be more competitive, and but being able to share things like that, that helps them maybe get that buyer they've been struggling with into a more competitive position. And we're always happy to share those resources with people because in my ventures around Maine, New Hampshire, Massachusetts, New England, the country, all the people we talk to, we learn a lot of cool things back and forth and share a lot of cool things back and forth. So it's
Yeah.
always good to be plugged into what's going on.
Yep, it sure is. And even on a broker level, you got the same problems. Or one of the companies that recruits, right? It's how do I get more agents? How do I get more
Right.
exposure? How do I get more people? How do it all comes down to this conversations
Hmm.
with the right people, right?
Yep.
Conversations with the right people. We were just mentioning it, having a conversation with a lender who has unique programs to get things done, having a conversation with an agent who's new or wants to change or whatever it might be to join your ecosystem, your brokerage, your ML downline, whatever you want to call it. Yeah, it's real, man. It's 100% real. Have those conversations of intent.
Yep. Yeah. And people love it when you ask them, "Hey, how's business? Like, how you doing?"
Mm,
I don't think enough people ask that question right now because I think people are afraid of the answer, and they're also afraid to be asked the same question because they don't want to give the answer. Um,
right.
but I always just like to know, how you doing? How's business? What's working, what's not. So,
Yeah.
um,
What problem can I solve for you today?
well, right, and that's
Right.
the whole point of this 90 and 90. It's not about trying to put up big stats and anything like that. It's just the fact that, hey, we're doing it. We're in the trenches with everybody else. We hope you'll be in the trenches with us. And this is how the business is run. And we're just trying to help everybody, kind of raise their game, build up their business, and hopefully make 2023 a good year, and hopefully not the year that they got out of the business.
You know what grinds my gears?
Yes, Peter Griffin, what grinds your gears?
That we have one of the top rated teams in New England, definitely Maine, who sells 325 to 400 properties per year, 125, 130 million a year in production, massive amounts of experience between me, between you, between Jeff,
Yep.
right? And everything that we've all seen. And we get together for 12 weeks for a half hour on Mondays to talk about the trials that you're having, the struggles that you guys are having, what you guys are doing, discipline techniques. I mean, here's the rainmaker signing envelopes, or not envelopes, but cards. Here's the rainmaker sending out golden letters every day. Here's the rainmaker disciplined lead generating, time blocked every single day. But what really grinds my gears is that you invite people to do these things who say that they're struggling and they don't show up. That makes me not want to help people anymore. It really does. I mean, I continue to put it out there,
Yeah.
but people need to look at themselves in the mirror a little bit. Listen, I've been writing about discipline and accountability today, so I'm on a tear about discipline and accountability, okay? And that level of discipline of showing up,
Yep.
that the discipline of that time block 5 days a week from 9 to 11. There's an agent who owns a Remax down here. If I said his name, you would know who he is. I don't mention names on these things. Every single day he's at the office, 8 o'clock. Checks his emails, makes his coffee. 8:30 he starts his lead generation. He's done at 11:30, checks his emails. At 12 o'clock he has or goes for lunch. At 1 o'clock he's out on appointments. He's done at 5 every day. He's on that phone following up, making cold calls, doing whatever he's got to do for those 3 hours every day.
Yep.
Every day, 2.5 hours. No, it's 3 hours, 8:30 to 11:30. Every day without interruption. He makes $1 million a year in gross commission income. Meanwhile, you got the person that's making 65 grand a year complaining that they don't have any business and how to grow. Then you offer them something, they don't even show up. When people ask me, why is it you think 87% of agents fail? I tell them they're not accountable and they have no discipline. And I believe that. Anyways, my rant's over.
Yeah,
So
no,
what-
I mean, and you know, a lot of agents have a really tough time getting out of that employee mindset where
Mhm.
they are looking for somebody to point them in the right direction, and they ultimately they want to be led, they want to be shown the way. And when you don't have anybody around that can do that, it tends to cause problems for them. But then at the same time is, you know, people will show you the way if you're willing to actually listen and follow along and implement. And I feel like that's where this whole thing breaks down is, well, you know, I need to be told what to do, but I don't want to be told what to do because I wanted the freedom of this business. So, you know, and you hear a lot of things like that, and it's like, well, you know, ultimately, it's the old adage of discipline is freedom. You know, you get freedom when you
is.
are disciplined because you'll then get the results, which allow you to then have the freedom. If you're just kind of going through your day trying to figure it out on the fly, you never reach the point of freedom because you're on that treadmill that you can't get off of. Um, and I had somebody today down in Bedford actually ask me, you know, they've been following along the 90 and 90. They've been on a few of the recordings. And the question I got was, you know, how do you guys keep doing it? Like, how do you've been doing, she's like, I've been on like 3 of them and you guys have done this every week, week after week. And I kind of looked at it. I said, well, what choice do we have? Like, we committed to a 12-week thing. We're going to give you 12 weeks. And in the meantime, we're doing this stuff every day anyways. So why not just share what we're up to? Like, it's not like we're taking a major amount of time out of our day to share this. We're just doing what we always do, sharing with you a quick update and hoping that you derive some benefit from it. But when we said 12 weeks, we meant 12 weeks. We're going to give you 12 weeks because that was our commitment and we are disciplined and accountable to what we committed to. And that's what you're going to get. And really, unless you've got something more pressing, like a closing or an appointment or something like that, there's no reason everybody's not on there.
100%. 100%. Oh, it wasn't in my schedule. Why? You mean?
Or you hear the whole, you know, I mean, and I get it, you know, being a solo agent, you're busy with everything. You're the bookkeeper, the marketing, the social media person, you hang this, you put up the signs, you hang the lockbox. Like, I get that you're doing all that, but
I feel like I'm doing next week's webinar right now.
yeah,
Because you're talking about leverage.
well, exactly. But ultimately,
That's one of the 5 things we'll be talking about.
right, everybody wants leverage, but you can't get leverage until you're disciplined enough to get enough business to pay for the leverage. And we get stuck in this big circle where we just can't get out of it.
Leverage. I'm going to get all Michael Gerber on you right now.
Yeah.
Leverage is only possible through delegation.
Yep.
Otherwise, it's abdication and it's a dereliction of your own duties.
Yeah.
Right? I believe that.
Yep.
I believe that with my soul. I believe that with my heart of my hearts.
Agreed.
Delegation is leverage. Abdication is dereliction.
Yep. Yeah.
And I'm guilty of both. I'm guilty of that.
We've all done both for sure. I mean, there's times I've looked back and went, wow, I really missed that one, or I should have delegated something, or, you know, but ultimately the only way you're going to learn is by continuing to make those mistakes and fixing it. But that kind of gets us nicely into our first learning, which is, and we talked a little bit about it on Monday, and that is a lot of us have a tough time, turning it off at the end of the day. It's tough to turn it off, and we're always thinking about, oh, I need to send that message. I didn't send that email. I forgot to send so and so the information they requested. And what I find is that when I can't turn it off, it's because I didn't really ever turn it on well enough during the day to get a chance to turn it off. So it's not how many hours you work. It's not the time you put in. It's really more about what work you put into those hours. So it's not how many hours you work. It's the work you get done in the hours. And to be able to truly turn it off, you have to be able to turn it on, leverage those hours to their fullest, actually have a plan, get the important stuff done. So when the day's over, you don't have things to think about that you didn't get done. You got done what you had to get done.
Yeah.
And too often the day gets away from us, and next thing you know, what we thought was going to be a text message we're going to respond to, we see a notification and we're on TikTok for an hour, and the day's gone. If we're intentional and planned and purposeful, and we go through our day with intention, you should be able to get to the end of the day, clearing that to-do list and being able to turn it off at the end of the night because you're not thinking about all the stuff you didn't get to.
Let me say it this way. The human mind can only focus on 7 incompleted tasks at a time. Okay. So many people that I've met, the problem is organization.
Yeah.
I'm guilty as hell about this too, but I got 8,000 tasks and things that I'm trying to do. You know how I fix that? Trello. Trello. It's free for the most part. For most of you can have 10 free boys, but you can go in there and brain dump your ideas, your marketing. You see it. I add you to boards. We got the marketing Trello. Okay, what are we doing? We got the rhythms Trello. We got the new client Trello, right? Because if you don't know and you can build automations on all of these. If your CRM has automation, right? You can create automated re-engaging campaigns. There's so many things that you can do, but you have to define what they are. Right? Too often, I know somebody listening to this, the 2 people that are listening to this, one of them is going to identify with this. You go to a seminar, you go to a conference, you're all jazzed up. You got your book of notes that you're going to come home and implement. You come home. If you're the minority, you've implemented some of these things. Most people don't. You implemented some of these things, but it's just like your New Year's resolution. 3, 4, 6, 8 weeks go by and you check in with the brain. How's it going? Oh, I got to follow up with that. Right? That's discipline. You said something a minute ago. I heard a TikTok in the past week or 2 or Reels, and it was like, discipline is freedom. I wish I saved it. I don't know where it is.
It's Jocko Willink.
That's what it is.
It's Jocko.
And it's really true, right? So if you come back and you have everything, they're called rhythms. Look up rhythms in business. It might actually be 6 Sigma shit. But if you look up daily rhythms, what is it you need to do every day? If you, as a real estate agent, write down what you need to do every single day. It's not a big list because there's checklists within inside of these lists. And what I mean by it's not a big list is it's lead generating, it's appointments, it's transaction management. What else is there? Everything should fall under one of those 3, right? Lead generation. Okay. Sphere of influence, networking. What's my 135? Right. So we can break it down into some goal conversations, but dump this stuff into Trello. Understand that every day I need to do this. Once per week or on Wednesdays or on Tuesdays, I do this. Once per month, I do this. Once per quarter, I do this, right? And it's as simple as the problem. I'll tell you exactly what the problem is, and you said it. It's the employee mindset. When you work for a factory or anybody else, let's say you sell potato chips. You show up at the warehouse 7 o'clock. You get your truck. Your job is I got to go hit these 24 stores. You used to run the logistics of these things.
I did. That was the world I came from.
You go. You fluff up your chips, you do the rotation, you're on to the next store.
And it was scheduled. Like you had a dock time, you had to be there.
That's
Like it
it.
was very structured.
You didn't have to think about nothing.
Nope.
You
By
just had to
design.
show up and execute. If you work at a factory, you show up, you do the job, you punch out. At the end of the week, you get a paycheck. You don't have any of that. You have to define what that is. And what happens is you get into the office, you don't have a to-do list, you don't have rhythms, and then you jump into your CRM. I gotta try to make something happen.
Yep.
And then all of a sudden, all day long, you're trying to make something happen, right?
Every morning I dump basically or actually really it's every night. And then then I kind of tweak it in the morning, but I do that every night before I go to bed. I just basically dump out the contents of my brain into stuff I really need to get done. I prioritize it and then I attack it.
I have books all over the house for all
Yep.
different reasons.
Well,
Journal.
I finally broke down. These are the erasable rocket books because I was going through so many notepads. But that's how I've always operated because I don't have like a fancy planner app, or I don't put everything on my calendar because that annoys me. But I do have something in front of me where I break down what I need to get done today. And for me, my day is not done until those things are done. Now, in some cases, maybe it's a project that's going to carry over for some time, but I need to have moved the ball forward on it. I needed to have made progress on it before I consider that to be done. And there are some days that by 3 o'clock that list is knocked out, and great. Now I start to cheat and get ahead for tomorrow, or that's when I go make more calls. I fill in the time, and there are some days that I finish up, I eat dinner, and I come back into the home office later that night and finish off that list because I used to went back in my distribution days. We always had a saying, you've got to get a week's worth of work done in a week. And if you don't have a plan, you can't forever roll stuff over to the next day and the next day and the next day and the next week, because that's when you get in trouble. That's when you fall behind on things. And then the stress of that begins to distract you. You've got to be able to, on Friday afternoon or Friday morning or Friday night, whenever you finish for the week, you need to be able to shut the week down and say, check the box. I had a good week. I got done what I had to get done. I made the progress I needed to make, and now I can shut it down for the weekend.
Yeah.
But for those of us that can't turn it off, and I'm guilty of this sometimes, there are days that I don't get everything done and I can't turn it off. So where do I go? I go back in the office to finish it because I sleep better. Like I feel better. I'm more relaxed when I'm staying current and making progress.
I'm gonna write a book one day. Again, I got 19 book titles.
Yeah.
This particular book title is going to be called The Exchange, The Demise of the Real Estate Agent.
Yep.
And what I mean by the exchange is, even in lead generation, they're all looking for that. I invested $100, I got a lead. They're all looking for that exchange, right? Some of the best activities in the world don't have an ROI. I'll argue people, they're like, oh, but getting your own, that's return on energy, man. Don't try to twist the words. Return on investment is money back for money invested. End of it. Don't try to change it. That's what it means. Return on energy means you put some energy into something and you were able to receive something back desirable. The same concept, but with energy versus money. But too many people are looking for that exchange.
Yeah.
Right. And what you just explained is not the exchange. It's the consistent work. And that's the word. That's the key to it all, is that C, the dirty C word. Right? Is that consistency. Every day you're showing up to do these things. The farmer's showing up, they're plowing the land, they're planting the seeds, they're putting the water out there, they're keeping the crows away. Then all of a sudden, boop, a little seedling pops up. Next thing you know, you got a billion cucumbers.
Yep. Takes time.
Real estate agents are infamous for buying the seeds and putting them into a bowl and saying, "Where's my salad?"
Yeah.
I paid 69 cents for these seeds. Yep. There's no ROI here. Well, you got to give these things time, right? So they don't have the ability to shut it off because they're too busy looking for the exchange. They haven't built that consistent, determinable revenue source. They get paid $5,000. They spend $5,000. They get paid $5,000. They spend $6,000, right? So they got to go get that other $5,000. It's always that. You see it with agents around all over the place, always playing catch up. Right? Always playing catch up.
Yeah. It's the infamous, the agent gets their tax bill in April and goes, "Oh no, how am I going to pay that?" That's why you have so many agents that have awesome April, May, Junes, because they got the tax bill they weren't prepared for and they've got to pay it.
They filed an extension. They got till October 15th.
Right. Yeah. They have a massive second quarter because they got to find a way to pay the tax man. But
I'm guilty of that too, y'all. Don't think I'm. Don't. No, think on you.
We've all been there. We've all been
$100,000.
Oh yeah. Oh no, I was not prepared for that.
Margaret was here.
Yeah.
right? Market was here in 06, 07. I got divorced. In 08, the market crashed, but I was caught holding that bag.
Oh yeah. It was a big bag back then.
A big bag.
All right, so let's move on to learning number two. So number one was, the ability to turn it off starts with the ability to actually turn it on and win the day.
Yeah.
Learning number two is something you're very passionate about, Johnny Moe, with all the video and content creation you talk about. But really, now is the time, and we're hearing it nonstop right now. We need to be educating the consumer. The consumer right now is getting mixed messages from media, social media, their neighbors. And honestly, they're looking for somebody who can cut through all the BS and tell them what is really going on, what it means to them, and give them some solid advice as to what to do. And it can be simple stuff. It can be sending some informational emails. It can be blogs with market updates, recording videos to talk about the conditions of the market, what's going on. Jeff and I do a weekly real estate show, the main real estate show. Anybody's welcome to come watch it. We talk about what's going on in the market. We talk with vendors. We do all kinds of stuff, some community focus. But every 4 to 6 weeks, we do a state of the market show, and we dive into, as a buyer, this is what to expect. This is what we're experiencing. As a seller, this is what to expect. This is what we're experiencing. We have one of our lending partners on the show with us as well, talking about here's where interest rates are. Here's the programs that are working. Here's how we're counseling our borrowers. Here's some strategies we're using to be successful. And we get so much great feedback from that. We did it on the radio all of last year. We brought it back on video, but we are taking the time to actually educate the consumer as to what is really happening in the marketplace, because the headlines are misleading. They want to know on a day-to-day basis, what are you, the real estate area expert, seeing and feeling, so that they know what to expect.
Yeah. And, one thing I think you got to be a little honest too is you don't have a crystal ball. You don't know what's going to happen. You don't. And, for me, people ask me, what do you think about the market? And I tell them it's odd. And should I sell? Yeah. I think you should sell. I think right now is the best time ever to sell. Get out now. Is the market going to crash? Don't know. It's cyclical. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. And nobody can really, unless you're a super smart dude and they made a TV show about you, determine that. Yep. Because I do a thing every 2 weeks with Keeping Current Matters about what the economic data across the board, not individual states, but national economic data. And they got the best economists. They have Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac people in there, and all these other people, chief this, CFO that, all these people. They don't even really know. They're making their best guess. Right?
It's very foggy right now.
Based upon this and that. But what I feel like is the demand is here and the supply is here. So when you look at it like this, right, with blinders on just at that, it's like, wow, it's a great time to sell. But I look at other factors. Yep. If we take a look at a global scale, what happens if the dollar loses value? Because it's happening and it will happen. That's a global, that's macroeconomics. So when you look at it on a micro level or a macro level, on the macro level, when's a good time? Well, what if the dollar gets devalued by 20%? Mm-hmm. How many people are going to be able to afford that house now? Right? Because it is happening. It already happened with the interest rates. They've already taken away buying power. So when you go from 3.5%, 4% to 7% or 6.75%, that's hundreds of dollars every month.
Yep.
That just moved people out of their 42%, 41% total DTI. Okay. Then took their housing, their purchase power down. Mm-hmm. So what's going to happen if not only now it costs more money, but that money is worth less, right? So you got to look at it. It's a good time to sell now, but I do believe real estate agents shouldn't overstep if they've never taken economics or they don't.
Yeah, right.
You should be conscious of it.
Yep.
You should be looking at your MLS data. I've belonged to 3 MLSs in my life. One in Florida, one in New Hampshire, the only one in New Hampshire, and then Maine. They all send you emails, every one of them. So I'm going to go based upon my small sampling of MLS data that they all do this, or the majority of them do it, send you updates. What state of the market? Maine does it once per month. This is what last year was. This is what this year was for all, 26 counties, 23 counties, something like that?
Yeah, 26 counties, I believe. I always get the number wrong. I always forget somebody.
20-something.
20 some odd.
Here's all the numbers for all the counties. Are you focused on York County, Cumberland County? What county are you focused on? Right? Tell that story, tell that information. Here's real data. And you can do that with video. Every single real estate agent should be positioning themselves as the most knowledgeable real estate agent in their area.
Yep.
Plain and simple.
Well, and it doesn't have to be a TED Talk. Like, you don't have to give a TED Talk. You don't have to, bring out your bifocals and your cognac and your pipe and give like a Columbia or Harvard Club lecture. Like, just share with people what you're seeing.
You don't need to bring out your chair.
Yeah, no. But don't overcomplicate this and make you feel like you got to do some kind of like a TED Talk. This literally can just be a minute or two. Here's what I'm seeing. Here's the highlights in the marketplace. Here's what I'm telling my clients today. That's all people want to know. Like, what are you actually seeing? Because you can cut through a lot of the BS they're reading.
1 minute short form content and your YouTube will explode.
Exactly. We even took apart some of the trends that one of the local papers was writing about. They're taking statewide data and trying to apply some trends to it. And we're like, no. Some of these are true. Some of these are actually not true, depending on where you are. Like, if you're in Cumberland, York County, you're not seeing 1 in 5 houses with price reductions. You're not seeing that yet. You're seeing like 1 in 10 or less. You are seeing price reductions, yes, but you're not seeing price reductions at that level. And what happens, I was talking to somebody.
That's that interest rate at work.
Right, exactly. But you're not seeing 1 in 5. You're seeing 1 in 10. You're seeing 1 in 5 across the state, because there are some areas that are very, very quiet right now. And I was having a conversation with a friend of mine the other day who's like, they've been thinking about maybe selling their house because they've got another kid on the way and maybe they need more space. And he's like, I know now's a bad time to sell because interest rates have kind of killed the market. And I went, no. It is still a great time to do anything because interest rates have not killed the market. The demand is still super strong and there are still people out there.
Yeah. Oh, where'd you go?
Oh, sorry about that.
Yeah. Oh,
wrong button.
You looked better there for a minute.
Real nice.
Yeah, no, the demand is very strong, right? The demand is very strong. And I think a lot of people are looking at home ownership as security because you saw what happened with rents, right? Rents went through the roof.
Insanely.
And home ownership is security, right? So buy a 2-family, buy a 3-family, heck, even buy a piece of land so you can bring that van on, right? And park it. I got my own place, stay away. Right? At least some level of security. Security, I think, is one of the most important things. Yep. The problem with selling right now is buying.
Right. And that was just, another great program a lender partner of ours allows people to buy first and sell after. And that was another thing I was talking to people in Bedford about today, because they're struggling with sellers that are like, well, I don't want to sell my house till I know where I'm going. Well, we actually have a lender with a program that's going to let you buy the next house first, then sell your house. So now the issue of where am I going to go is gone. You can buy this house, move in, and then put your house on the market once it's empty and you're gone, and then sell it. Yeah. That's a game changer to somebody who's nervous where to go. But again, like, by having these conversations with other agents and talking to the lenders, and as the more we talk as an industry, the more we learn about some of these things that can help each other.
I always say this to people. Somebody taught me this a long time ago. I don't remember who told me this. Tom Boschman might have taught me this. And I'll give a shout out to somebody that I like when I'm not like using them as an example. Tom's a great guy. I think he's retired. Good for him, I heard. Anyway.
Good for him.
My job is to keep you from being homeless and having 2 mortgage payments.
Yep.
Right. And I think, that, yes, we're in a sales type of position because there's a sale and that sale yields a great commission.
Yep.
But I've never looked at this as a salesperson's job. This is an advisory role.
Yes.
And when you can take it from an advisory role, give them the analytics, give them the data, help them to arrive at the decision, then you have provided more value than that person that got their license that's opened up the door, that's going to yup you to death and is going to cause all sorts of havoc because they're a salesperson. They just need to get it done.
Yep.
Right. I don't respond well to that, but come at it from an advisory role. Mm-hmm. No. Okay. Right. I'll use Jeff as an example. We did a video a couple weeks ago. Do you need to sell your house or do you need to sell your house fast?
Right.
We have people that'll buy your house for cash if you're in a situation, it needs work, tax liens, divorce, whatever the situation is, we can get you a cash offer, or we can go the traditional route if you have time and you're going to get the maximum amount of dollar for you can. I think we have to come at this as an advisory role and have different options. Just say, you know what, let me, even if you don't know, you know what, let me talk to a lender friend of mine to see if this situation will qualify for a program that they have.
Yep.
If you don't even have that in your toolkit, you're missing opportunity.
Well, and I've heard people say, well, we'll make offering them a cash offer. That's sleazy. You're just trying to steal the house from them. No, I'm trying to give them an option. And that's what the client wants. They want to know, what are my options? I can either go on market and I run the risk of it not selling fast enough, of them wanting to close in a time frame that doesn't work for me, or inspections going sideways or appraisal going sideways. I've got all these potential hurdles I've got to clear to get my house to the closing table.
Mm-hmm.
Or if you're going to offer me a cash offer and at a discount, but that gives me nothing but certainty and I'm free to just move on with my life and know that I'm going to be able to move when I need to move, there's huge value in that. And you might be surprised. There are people that will say, well, geez, I'd love to know what that cash offer looks like because, I really need to move by X, or I just need to know it's going to sell.
Mm-hmm.
And there are reasons, and maybe 8 out of 10 people say, no, I'm not interested. I want max value. Great. Let's do that. But for those 2 out of 10 that are like, man, I'd like to understand that option. You've now increased your value by giving them choices that nobody else is going to give them. Everybody else just wants a listing. I just want to get on the market and sell it. But in some cases, that doesn't solve the problem they've got.
You know what? To offer somebody as an investor an offer on a home is similar concept in the mind of why companies buy other companies. You might have a product and the company could save a lot of money if they built the product themselves.
Totally.
What they're paying for is that the shortening of time.
Yep.
It's what they're paying for. So let's just use these numbers. You got a house. It's got deferred maintenance, roof, flooring, window, paint, right? Whatever it might be. It's going to be $50,000 in deferred maintenance. That's not too far-fetched. $50,000 in home rehab doesn't get you too far.
It goes fast.
I get it, Jimmy. If you're doing the work yourself, I ain't looking to swing a hammer. Okay, so you got to hire pros. But now all of a sudden, so you bought the house for $150, you're going to sell the house for $250. But you're into it for $200 at this point. You have got carrying costs and closing costs and all these other things, and then you got the resale cost. So yeah, you made $25,000. That's all you didn't make $100, right? So I think people who are the cynics about this don't actually even understand how it works. They've never sat down and put the numbers side by side comparison, because you're not going to get $250 for the house with the bunk roof. With the leaky roof, with the moldy sheetrock, with the dated kitchen, right?
Pay all the closing costs and all the closing costs, both sides of the commission, the work that it needs. Like when you actually do a seller net sheet in the 2 scenarios, you're 100% right. The gap usually is not that big.
It's not,
and it's sometimes shocking to people. But like I always use the example of Facebook and Instagram. Facebook bought Instagram in 2012 for $1 billion. Now, could Facebook have built another Instagram? Yeah, I'm sure they have plenty of smart people in there that could have built another Instagram. Or you could just go buy the existing one that people already know, and you can just bolt it onto the side of you and keep going.
Yeah.
Sometimes there are other solutions that might be more effective.
Yeah. Well, I'm hoping they come and give me $500 million. That'd be
that'd be cool. I'd be fine with that.
All right.
Let's go to learning number 3 here. So final one of the week. And I've seen some people lately putting things up like, if you're, do you have a plan for this year? Are you following your plan? Well, throw it out, focus on winning the day. Don't worry about the plan. Nobody's on their plan, blah, blah, blah. And I think that's dangerous advice, because as much as I think, yes, you need to focus on the day and win the day, you need to know where you're going. If you're just running hard and winning the day without any real direction or any way to measure if you're on track to where you want to go, you could end up anywhere, and it doesn't necessarily benefit you in any way. So I always tell people, we're at the 12-week mark. First quarter's over. Now is the time to really take a look at what's going on in your business. Are you on track? Are you not on track? Which activities for you are working? Which ones are not? Is your schedule working for you? Are you actually committing the time you said you were going to commit to work versus health versus personal time versus family time? Do you need to change that? But ultimately, we need to be periodically checking in on our business and just saying, hey, am I on track? Yes or no? If yes, great. How do I make sure I stay there? If no, what do I need to either do more of, do less of, or stop doing altogether to get back on track. But without that checkpoint, you could very dangerously end up anywhere that's but not at your target.
So I'm going to paraphrase a little bit because the original saying's a little bit different. I'm going to go with modern saying, well, second modern saying of the Cheshire Cat from Alice in Wonderland. Excuse me, sir. Do you know what path I should take? Well, that all depends on where you're going, my dear. Well, I don't know. Well, if you don't know where you're going, any path will get you there.
Yep.
Right? So a lot of this stuff goes back to what we were talking about in level 1. What is winning the day?
Right.
For me, it's waking up.
Yeah.
I woke up, I won the day.
Yeah. I'm already ahead.
If I made it and I'm going back to bed, freaking finale. Okay?
Yeah.
Gonna hope to win again tomorrow. The problem is too many people get carried away. We're in this whole awakening thing and I'm just focused on me and joy and stuff like that. I think that's vital. There's 5 things that you have to win every day. Self, the number one most important. What did you do for you? Did you reach any of your goals?
And that's the hard one because we often forget about ourselves.
Right? And it's the most important one because without a happy, healthy self, you're a junk to everybody else.
Yep.
When you're on the airplane, they say, put your mask on before you help anybody else, right? So what steps did you take? There's no reaching the goal. There is no goal for me. There's no goal for me. There's daily benchmarks, right? And if you hit these daily benchmarks, my goal is to solve world hunger, okay? So I'm not going to be able to do that. But if I can make steps every day towards being the best version of myself and helping people and helping the communities, we're taking steps towards that. Okay. We're making our impact. But self, what did you do? What steps did you do for yourself? What steps did you do? Did you show up for your family? Did you provide for your family? What did you do for your business? How did you move the needle forward for your business today? Again, it's not the exchange. Did you make the 20 contacts that you needed to make? That's it. Go home. Go take care of self. Go get a massage. If you want to go for a stretch, go for it. What did you do for your soul, your spirit, right? And then what did you do for your financial world? Did you go out to lunch again and get 2 martinis and get buzzed and, drop $75 on lunch? Because that happens, right? That happens in our world way too often. Or did you say, I took that I bought myself a $7 sandwich and I took the rest of that money and I sent it over to Acorns, or I sent it over to my Fidelity account, or I sent it over here, right? What steps did you take every single day? To me, that's winning. That's winning the day.
Yep.
Besides that, I don't know what these people mean. You win the day. What do you mean? What determines winning?
Oh, exactly. And if you don't know where you're going, I always look at it as I'm not a big goal setter. I like to set targets. I don't set a goal. Like it's not like I want to do this, but I want to go here. No. But what I do from there is I look at, you look 1 year, 3 year, 5 years down the road, as far as you want to go out and you say, okay, I want to get there. I want to plant a flag right there. And then you back it up to, okay, in order to get there at the end of this year, I need to be here by the midpoint of the year, and then here by the end of the first quarter. And then you just keep dialing that down to the point where what are the 2 or 3 things that if I did every day would get me there, and just make sure you're doing those. But if you just do stuff without an end goal in mind, you don't know where you're going. You don't know if you're on track. You don't know if you're even going to get there. But man, you get to the end of the day, you're like, man, I killed it today. I'm winning. But are you? And if you're not measuring that, how do you know?
Are you happy? Are you joyful? Are you in a good relationship with self? You got $4 in the bank? You got a meal on the table? Are your kids good? Are they healthy? You're winning. Yep. The problem is too many people define winning by material things.
Sure.
They define winning as that cash, that money. I sold another one, got one on the contract. Those are all parts of winning. Don't get me wrong. But that's not the basis of winning, right? Gratitude. When we can have more gratitude, when we can have more joy in our lives, you're winning more than you even know. The fact that you're waking up, and I believe that the majority of people listening to this will be from America. Secondly, would be from Canada. If you're living in either one of those countries, you've already won life's lottery.
Yeah.
Don't get so busy that you are not productive. And I think
Yep.
that's what happens. I wrote a blog years ago, Busy versus Productive
Oh
Agents.
yeah.
I was laughed to myself this morning. And as you were talking, it recalled, I had my headphones on and nothing was on. And I was just walking. And the lady over across the street was trying to talk to me. I'm like, yeah, pointing to my headphones. I keep going. And I used to do that walking into the market center too. I'd have my headphones on, making pretend I'm having a conversation because I didn't want to have a conversation. I needed to get in there, do what I
Yeah.
needed to do, and then I could go. Right? You need to cut out these distractions, and if they're not on your daily rhythms, if you can, once you write out all your daily rhythms, once you know and you have checklists for your daily rhythms, even down to social media posting,
Yep.
and you accomplish those every single day, you won the day.
Hmm.
You won the day. You came in, you did all your tasks, you won the day. Besides that, I won the day, win the day.
Yep.
Win the
Yeah.
day. You woke up, you already won.
Exactly. And my takeaway from that is that we all need a periodic check-in on what we're doing. Make sure whatever we're doing, it's rewarding us what we want it to. It's getting us to where we want to go. And we go through a business planning exercise with our team and all of our partners. And I tell people, be honest, set goals you want to strive for. There's nothing worse than setting a goal that you hit and you're disappointed that was all the goal was. But at the same time, don't set goals that are so, I know people will talk about 10x, 10x everything, but don't set a goal so big you can't reach it because then it's demotivating. You just won't. But
Everybody thinks that Grant Cardone.
Exactly. No matter what you're doing, have some kind of a goal in mind, back into what that plan needs to be. What are those actions that are going to move the needle? Make sure you're doing them, but check in periodically to make sure you're still doing the right actions. You're still hitting all the commitments that you made.
Yeah. So Simon Sinek writes this book, and a few good. No, what was that one with Tom Cruise? He played they're in the military. Him and Jack Nicholson.
Yeah,
Was it
A Few Good
Men?
Yep.
Don't ask why. No, man. Ask why.
Yeah.
I believe. I'm going to say something. Listen, I've been controversial my whole life. I'm like the anti-guru. I'm like a Taylor Swift song, right? I'm like the anti-hero. Everybody's all attracted to that alphanism or the awards and stuff like that. And I dismiss it. It isn't even a thing to me. I'd rather talk about, awakening and reaching self-actualization, which most people will never reach.
Mm-hmm.
Right. I want to talk about the shadow and how we can integrate our shadow to do these great things. How do we help the community? How do we end violence? Right. How do we do these positive things? There's no goal that I can set in real estate that gets me there.
Yep.
But through real estate, it's able to fund me to get there. So it comes down to this. Start with why. Why is that your goal?
Mm-hmm.
Why, when people say to me, I have a goal to help 52 people with home ownership this year. Becky, that ain't a goal.
Yeah.
That's the number you need to hit that financial thing that you want. But why? Yep. Why is 250? Why is 150? Why is 120? Why is that the number? What happens when you hit this number? When you hit that number, do you stop? Right? If you hit that number in July, do you take the rest of the year off? Right? Why? If you don't know why, which is the mission, which is the purpose, all tied into one another, right? Michael Gerber would tell me that it's the manifesto. What's your dream, your vision, your purpose, and your mission? When you can define that, the goals become benchmarks. They become daily rhythms. They become these things that you need to hit. My goal isn't to sell 50 properties. My goal is to be able to give back to the community X amount of money.
Yep.
Different. It's different. And through the sales, I'm able to give back X amount of money. I'm able to fund this thing. So what's the big... Listen, I'm starting to sound like Gary Kelly here when I say, what's your why? I don't like that saying either, but start with why, right? What is your purpose of hitting that goal? What happens when you hit that goal? Yep. When you can define that, the goal just becomes the daily activity.
100%. Yep.
All right.
So we got a few more minutes here, Johnny Moe, and you had found some really interesting stats you were sharing with me earlier today. So let's run through those.
Yeah, so I'm putting together next week. We're doing a webinar on the 5 things that you can do for your business right now to make a positive impact. I believe the name of it is Bulletproof Your Business, 5 things to focus on now. And one of the things that
We should have made it bulletproof your own business, so it could have been BYOB.
like bulletproof your own business, BYOB. Brilliant. Bulletproof your own business. Okay, cool. So we're doing a webinar next week called BYOB,
Yeah.
Bulletproof Your Own Business. And of course, one of the things that I will always talk about, if you ever invite me on to a webinar or a training, I am talking about, because I'm not interested in talking about much other than video, digital, and social. And so I was looking at the updated stats about video, digital, and social, and 82% of all internet traffic is video. We know that 82 to 89%. So I'm at the lower number. 91% of consumers want and demand video. 91%. So you can chase the 9% if you want. I'll stick with the 91. I'll
Yep.
give up the 9%. 8.5 billion with a B Google searches per day. 71%
Crazy.
of bloggers say that SEO is the most important source of traffic. Yet I still see people copy and paste in Chat GPT. And I made a post the other day in Lab Coats that I said, this was a copy and paste from Chat GPT. It was an 18. It scored an 18.
Oh,
And then I went in there
which
and
means Google hates it. Nobody's going to see it.
it's not going to go anywhere because there's billions of blogs posted every day, right? And if you're trying to compete, this is my methodology. I don't try to compete homes for sale, condos for sale. I ain't competing against Zillow. I'm going to come
Right.
and find the hyper locals, right? There might be 8,500 searches per month. I'm going to come over here where there's 800 and there's no competition and slide in, right?
Yeah.
And be seen everywhere. Anyways, most people are not doing SEO, so they're the blogs, but 71% of bloggers say SEO is the most important source of traffic. And then 2 hours and 31 minutes on average per day people are spending on social media.
Wow.
And 93% of all companies have acquired a new customer or customers via social media video. So if you ain't doing it, don't. Right? If you don't want to do it, don't. But you're missing. You're
And we're
missing.
the industry that still wants to cold call and door knock.
Yeah. Which, listen, is perfectly fine after you got the ad out, after you got the lead magnet out, after you got the booklet out, after you got the mailer out, then go knock on some doors, right?
Yep.
The problem with door knocking is it's the exchange again.
Mm-hmm.
We're back to the exchange. You're not knocking on doors for any other reason than to find somebody that wants to sell their home. So you're in that. I have this thing that I used to teach called it was a lead generation quadrant, and inside the lead generation quadrant, I talked about active and passive lead generation.
Yep.
And active means you're out exchanging that time for something. Okay, mm-hmm. That's door knocking. Passive is I created an ad, I've created a video, I've created a blog that is going to work for me 24/7. Right? So that's the difference. I am not a big active lead generating person. I'm all about passive. I'm lazy, right? I don't want to go door knock. I'm sit there, make cold calls and stuff like that. That is what people, Hannibal Lecter told Clarice, people covet, right? So what do people do? That. Why? Yep. It's the least resistant. It gives you the quickest potential. Yep. But when one of these rah-rahs come rolling through your town, you can tell that it rolled through the town because you get 12 phone calls from the same people.
Yep.
Hey, just calling to see if you're thinking about selling your house. Hey, I'm in a competition to get referrals online. I don't know if this stuff works. I ain't getting involved in that hookiness.
Yeah.
We throw chicken bones around at my house.
Yeah. But it goes right back to our second learning this week, educate the consumer. Mm-hmm. The consumer is looking for answers, and they're not waiting for you to call them. They're not even hoping that you call them. Uh-huh. What are they going? They're going on Google. They're going on social media and looking for the answer. And we're actually seeing stats now where people are beginning to use social media, and TikTok in particular, like a search engine. They are searching for topics because they want to go learn more about them. Yeah. YouTube, people go on YouTube searching for topics to learn more about them.
Searching for areas. I just got a message today, Harrison, saying, hey, I love your video on, I'm not going to tell anybody what town it was. Yeah, you can go there and go through them all.
Yep.
I'll just tell you, I don't care. Because if you go in there and try to wheeze the person, then you're a scumbag. But and then you have to look at yourself in the mirror and know that you are, right?
Yeah.
Because we all know. So you're gonna have that accountability conversation and
Yep.
acceptance with yourself. But anyways, the person said, "I really love your video on Kittery. I'm gonna be moving there in the summer for a job at the shipyard. I would love to meet you and have a lobster roll with you."
Sweet.
Yeah, man, I'll be happy to have a lobster roll with you, bro, and talk and show you your new home,
Absolutely. Help
right?
help you get into the area, and then we'll go hang out.
I would never have this conversation.
Right.
Never have had this conversation. And he gets in with the shipyard and he's all happy. Guess what? That's how I got in with Dartmouth Hitchcock Medical Center back in 2000 and might have been 4 or 5.
Yep.
An orthopedic surgeon reached out to me. He said, "Hey, we like these properties." Listen, Zillow didn't exist when this happened. Okay. I ranked #1. I had a great looking website. Adam Dow would be able to tell you about it. We all had
Oh, yeah.
Agent Master back then. We
Yep.
all had Agent Master. Then they got bought out by somebody, and then we all went with Union Street.
Yep.
So it was an awesome website, high rank. It looked great. I paid a lot of money for it every month, but it was a great website. And so I said, sure. I looked at the properties he was looking at. They were all 677 back then. Right. And
Yeah.
I'm like, damn, starting pay back then was 350 plus bonus. Right? Damn, I'm in the wrong business here. Right.
Yep.
And it went up every year. Anyways, he ended up introducing me to the gal that handles the relocation at the hospital. They introduced me to a dozen other people that were relocating and all these other things. Nobody bought a cheap house.
No.
They all bought big, expensive houses. We handled the resale. Oh, my kid's going to UNH. I want to buy an investment property out there so we don't have to pay rent. Let's go. You know what I mean? Opened it up to this whole network of people, all because I was intent online. I didn't just accidentally show up, #1. I spent hours.
Yep.
And that's back when search engine optimization was easy. It's complex now.
Yeah, exactly. And to the point I was making, people are not waiting for you to call them. They're not grabbing the phone book and looking for realtors. They are going online and searching for the topic. And if you're not where they're searching, if you're not on YouTube or on whatever social media platform or just visible to Google, when they go search that information, you don't exist. And it's one of those things that I've heard people like Gary Vee rant about this for a long time. If you're not online, you don't exist. And if you're not, I think he says if you're not on the phone, he holds the phone up, you don't exist. And he's right. Because ultimately the consumer is searching for what they want to find out right on their phone, right on their computer. And if you don't pop up in those results, you may as well not exist because they're not seeing you. And that's where, and these stats are really eye-opening to the fact that traffic, that the sheer amount of traffic and the sheer amount of business that's generated from being on these platforms is to the point now where you can't ignore it. You can no longer afford to ignore this thing. If you're not there, you just don't exist. And that is, if you've got a great network and database, that's great. That's going to take care of you for a little while. But if you don't have that network and database yet, and you're not on these platforms, you really don't exist.
You don't. And then you're down to your sphere of influence, right? Or you could call it your network. Listen, if you're brand new in the business, not everybody has a big sphere of influence. I wasn't from this area.
Totally.
Right. I wasn't from this area.
Yep.
I had to start fresh. I had no choice but to grow that digital world. Right. But since that digital world, there has been a couple of these small platforms that really threw a monkey wrench into my plan. Zillow, Facebook, right? Now there's dozens of them, right? Move.com and all these other platforms that if you think you're going to rank for homes for sale in Scarborough, you're not.
Your site better be amazing.
Even then, right? Even then. But you might be able to rank for golf courses, right, in the area. And now all of a sudden this home's on the golf course and this home's on the golf course. But you repixelated them so you start seeing them again, right? Yeah. So I believe it was on the site that I was looking at, 53% of all online experiences every day, every minute, start with a web search, right? And so think about that. Yes, people coming on, they're coming online, they're going to a social media site, logging into the program that they need, like us, let's just use MLS or .loop or any of these other SaaSes, right? So that's all considered, but 52% of the online experience starts with a web search.
Yeah. Just
So,
I
are
need to
you
find
present?
something. Where is it?
Yeah, right? I
It's
need an answer. Intent.
yep. It's
Right?
simple. Simple.
So,
Simple.
is your Google My Business up to date? Are you submitted to directories? Are you do you have all of that Google stuff set up properly, or did you just get a website and then shared it?
Yep.
Because if
Which
you did that,
that's usually the case.
you missed.
Yeah.
You missed it. It doesn't mean it doesn't mean you missed it. You
Yeah.
you just missed it for now. You can still go
Well.
back and do these things.
Well. And
That's something that we're going to be rolling out
yes.
in conjunction with an SEO guru. Is that's going to be part of our program, part of our advanced program. Is the publication to directories, backlinks to your websites, all these other things that help it rank. Google reviews. And we just got a report back from our friend, 600% ROI on their SEO spend.
Yep.
I don't know. I'm not great with math.
Yeah. It's a lot
Sounds
though.
good.
That's a lot though. Well, and the other thing too is, and I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but and we've experienced ourselves firsthand, and it was frustrating. Those templated websites that come off your CRM, whether you use Brivity or Follow Up Boss or pick a CRM, Google doesn't like those sites because they're everywhere and they know they're everywhere and they're all templated and there's nothing unique. They're not keyword rich. They're literally just out of the box templated sites. You change a couple of pictures and they roll it out. And when Google sees that along with thousands of other ones just like it, Google just goes, those are junk. There's nothing unique about those. And we don't want to send traffic to those because people will be annoyed with us. So, being able to actually control what that site looks like, what's on that site, how it's used, how it's optimized is a total game changer because the traffic to a site that you actually control and have optimized is exponentially higher than those templated sites we get right out of the box.
The thing about the templated sites, and I know this from experience because I just spent a month doing this, testing,
Yep.
running audits, reviewing the audits, making changes, rerunning the audit, right? And dialing it in and dialing it in to dial it in to dial it in. Is that most of your templated sites are not, no matter how many drag and drop things that you put in there, no matter how many words you use or headlines it's not being indexed. It's not being spidered. It's not being crawled unless it's written with some sort of HTML, HTML5, anything. Okay. That's when it's going to pick up those words. I'll prove to anybody. Matter of fact, I'm talking to a large company about this. I said, I'm not interested in showing anybody anything. This is what we do.
Yep.
If you want to send people to me, I'll be happy. I'm not interested in giving away what I do anymore. There's no value to me, right? There's no value to the company. I know some people will argue about that. I've given it away for 10 years. Now it's all about just servicing my clients to the best of the ability. Even when people are like, what tool did you use for that? Research them, man. Figure out which one works for you.
There's lots of them.
But anyways, if you're just dragging and dropping and putting these things in there, I can promise you, go get any site, any SEO software that does site audits. You can Google it. 100 of them will come up. And do a site audit. You'll say, wait a minute, I have a whole bunch of stuff there. Why does it say I only have 83 words? Because it doesn't read it.
Yeah, it doesn't.
So
doesn't like it.
You got to learn a little HTML or leverage, which is one of the things that we'll be talking about next week.
Yep.
Leverage that to somebody. There's no sense in any real estate agent having to go learn this stuff.
No.
When there's people that do it.
Yeah, exactly. Why reinvent the wheel? Go find the people that have already figured out the formula and just plug into what they're doing. I mean, how many people are getting a 600% ROI on SEO or any marketing for that matter? I mean, it's unheard
crazy,
of, so.
Right?
It is. It really is. So, all right, we gotta wrap it up, Johnny Mo. Well, it's Friday afternoon. I think people are checking out. So
they have checked out a long time ago.
What do you have for a parting thought this week?
Think about your purpose and utilize real estate to fulfill that purpose. Your purpose shouldn't be anything. There's a good chance that your true purpose doesn't have anything to do with real estate. Now, you might say, I want to bring affordable housing to my area so we can decrease the homeless population or whatever. That's something defined in real estate. So,
Yes.
but define what your purpose is and use real estate as the conduit to fund it. Then real estate has a purpose.
I like it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's always something bigger than that. It's all what you're trying to accomplish is bigger than that, and I like that. So, all right, for me, it's and a lot of conversations last week or two with people, and I know the market's shifting and things are getting difficult, but really more than ever, it's important that you're positioning your business where the consumer is, and that is all sorts of things. It's your messaging, it's your branding, it's your content, it's your videos, it's how you're publishing things, it's where you're found. Continue to position your business where the consumer is, and that could be videos. That can be which networking groups you go to. It could be which restaurants you go to. You know, figure out who that customer avatar is and try to find ways find ways to get into their world. Find ways to integrate with them. Because now more than ever, people are looking for an expert that they know, like, and trust. And you have to continue to show up, and you've got to show up multiple times in multiple ways. So make sure your business is positioned where that consumer is.
You're a smart person with numbers. 50 times 50 is what? 2,500, right?
Mhm.
2,500 times 50 is what? 125,000.
125,000. Yeah.
Yeah. So get to know people, because when you get to know people, they know people.
Mhm.
Okay. If I did 125 times 50, that would be off the hook number,
Yeah.
right?
It'd
But
be crazy.
yeah, it'd be absolutely off the hook. But people know people. So it
Yep.
makes sense to build relationships with people. Use video to build relationships with those people. Use these people, use video to bring them into your network, into your sphere. At the end of the day, we do all of this, can be boiled down, can be peeled back to one thing, and that one thing is called a relationship. We do all of this for the relationship. And
Yep.
the more relationships that you have, the more money you should make. Now, the more relationships you have of high value, or when I say high value, it's just not, hey, this person's worth this kind of
Yeah.
money.
Right.
It's, hey, this person is super well known in the community.
Yep.
So if you get seen with that person in the community, you get
Yeah.
instant credibility with their
Exactly.
audience.
Massive.
Right?
Massive.
Yeah, I like that approach.
Awesome. All
Let's
right.
start a
Well,
company around it.
exactly. That's a good idea. You should really do that. Well, anyways, happy Good Friday, everybody. Happy Easter. Hope everybody has a great weekend. I know at least the weather is looking like it's going to be decent here, so I hope that's true for everybody else. Get outside. We'll see you next week to wrap up the 90 and 90, and then we'll talk a little bit about what's next for us and what's going on. So with that, Johnny Moe, have a great weekend.
Peace.